Welcome to the ID Den podcast, the show for teachers ready to step outside the classroom and into their next chapter. I'm your host, Charity Bosch, and I know firsthand how overwhelming it can feel to leave teaching behind. Whether you're exploring instructional design, navigating corporate culture, or just figuring out your first steps, this show is your roadmap. Each episode will tackle the real challenges, share practical strategies, and prove that your teaching skills are exactly what the world needs, just in a different setting. Let's turn that classroom expertise into your career advantage. In today's episode, we will be continuing our conversation around freelancing fears, which brings me to the next part of this fear, finding your clients. How do you even find clients to work with? A lot of times with this part of the fear, I see teachers who are worried about competing with established freelancers. Oh, there's got to be a ton of them out there, right? Which, yes, but in this industry that's growing very rapidly and is worth billions of dollars, it's not an oversaturated market. So don't let anyone try and talk you into that. That's not true at all. A lot of times teachers don't know where to look for opportunities. And something that I personally still struggle with, I will be completely honest with you, this fear comes with rejection. Rejection from cold outreach is tough. I still struggle with it. Part of my struggles is I'm a people pleaser and I want people to like me, and it's hard for me to have rejection. But I am growing and I am learning. It is just part of the process. It is nothing personal. I have some little mantras that I say in my head, but it is a valid fear and I do want to talk about it. There's also some concern about scams, especially lately, like on LinkedIn. If you're looking for contract work, there can be legitimacy issues with those job postings. So we'll talk about that a little bit as well. The first thing that I want to give you is a lesson on attraction marketing. And for instructional design work particularly, you're not going to be finding businesses to work with through Instagram. Breathe a sigh of relief right now that you don't need to tackle the mayhem of the Instagram algorithm. And then after you take your breath of relief, LinkedIn is your place to go. So if you're like, I don't have a LinkedIn profile, I don't know anything about LinkedIn, because more often than not, teachers don't need LinkedIn. So they don't use it and they're unfamiliar with it and they're not on it. And that's okay. I will walk you through it. But attraction marketing with LinkedIn specifically is something that you should have as part of your marketing strategy. How you achieve this is creating, or if you already have one, optimizing your profile with a very clear value proposition. If you were to go to my LinkedIn profile, you would see my tagline that says, I help, and then whatever. You want to make sure that it's very clear what you do and the value that you provide. Me in particular, when it comes to instructional design work, I am very passionate about healthcare startups. That is my niche. So in my tagline, it mentions helping healthcare startups. You will want to make sure that your tagline says, I help blah, blah, blah organizations with learning and development needs. If you want to just do e-learning and you never want to do anything else, with e-learning course creation, you can decide that, tailor it, but you want to make sure that you get very clear on what you offer. And then you want to post consistently about that. Now, it's not just sales. Hey, hire me, and that's all the posts are. There's 3 types of posts that you are going to want to include as part of your posting strategy with LinkedIn. The first one is to inform or educate. The second one is to build relationships, drive conversations. And then the third one is sales. So it's a kind of a good rule of thumb to focus on the first 2, informing and educating and building those relationships and starting conversations. LinkedIn in particular, they like conversations. They don't like to push out posts to people in their algorithm that have no likes, that have no comments, anything like that. Kind of like Instagram, but they really focus on thought leadership. So if you are posting something that gets a conversation started, they're going to show that to more people. I can vouch for this. It has happened to me. A post that I posted even in the past still gets comments, likes, interaction because it prompted people to respond to me, and LinkedIn likes that. So you want to make sure that you're posting consistently. That doesn't mean posting every day. Again, this isn't Instagram. You don't have to fight the Instagram battle of posting 2 to 3 times a day to your grid and then 5 to 10 stories a day. It's not like that. It's about consistency though. So if you're going to post Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and that's it, that's fine. You can do that on LinkedIn. Make sure you're consistent about it though. So I recommend when you're first getting started, you batch a month's worth of content before you start posting and then keep doing a week at a time each week after to give yourself a little bit of a cushion if you get sick or if you have kids and they end up sick or you want to take a month off for vacation, you've got all of that content already prepped for you to go. Then you also want to make sure that you're sharing case studies and project results. Now, be careful about, especially if you don't have permission to use the client's name, don't do that. You don't want to just go off the whim and say, oh, hey, I worked on this thing for Adobe. And then Adobe's like, we didn't want people to know that you did that for us, but you can still post about it, but be vague. Oh, a recent project I worked on for a client. You don't have to say which client, but you can still talk about the project. And then make sure that you're engaging with other people. Attraction marketing only works if you are also commenting on people's posts, sending connection requests. LinkedIn wants it to be more of a give and take rather than just take. So you comment on other people's posts, you send out connection requests, you get more comments, you get more connection requests. I can vouch that that's how the system works. And then the other aspect I want to talk about is leveraging your existing network. And this is where you might think, well, I don't have a network. Yes, you do. It doesn't have to be a network on LinkedIn. It can be people that you know. One of your students' parents owns a business. They might need you. So reach out to former colleagues and connections, people that you know, friends and family. Ask for referrals from people that you have worked with, maybe not even in an official capacity, that can vouch for your character even. And then also network on LinkedIn, attend industry meetups and networking events. They can be digital. It doesn't mean you have to go to this conference in Florida. You can do things virtually, join professional associations in your field, reconnect with old contacts that you might not have talked to in a while that might need your services. I will say the majority of the clients that I have gotten have come from my network. And then once you start building clients, ask your clients if they know anyone that could benefit from you, because then you already have credibility built. Because if they know them and they say, oh, hey, Charity does this great work. Do you need any of these things? Let me connect you with her. And then you automatically have that social proof from that person that they most likely trust to come to you. So network is going to be huge for you to build your client portfolio. And now I want to talk about the dreaded cold outreach. But let's talk about cold outreach that actually works. Cold outreach takes time to do. One email, LinkedIn message that you send is going to take quite a lot of work, quite a lot of your time to send the one. And then it's a waiting game. Are they going to respond to you? Are they going to be interested? And then if you want to catch a couple fish, you've got to cast a wide net. So you're going to have to send out a lot of messages. So yes, cold outreach can seem very daunting. It is very time consuming and it does take a lot of work, but there is still value to it. So when you are going to cold outreach, the first thing that you want to do is identify your prospects based on your ideal clients. As I mentioned, I'm passionate about healthcare startups, so I'm not going to be reaching out to Amazon for my services. They're not a healthcare, they're not startup. So you're going to have to figure out what companies align with your niche that you want to be in. I do recommend niching down. When you're first starting out, you don't have to do that. If you're just trying to gain the experience and you want to see what industry you might want to niche down to, it's totally fine. You don't have to do it right away. But once you figure out, oh, I'm really passionate about this, niche down and start finding companies that are within that niche. Once you have certain companies identified, you want to research them. You want to research who in the organization is going to be important for you to talk to. A receptionist at a location is not going to get you a job. They're not going to get you. They might get you a foot in the door, so I'm not trying to discount them, but they're not going to be a decision maker. You want to research decision makers within the company, L&D managers, human resource managers, chief people officers, chief HR, chief learning officers. There's a whole list of titles basically, and I can probably send that out at some point. But there's certain people that you want to be strategic with who you connect with. You don't want to just connect with anyone in the company. You want to connect with the people that can say, yes, I want to hire you for this project, and have the authority to hire you for that project. So you're going to do research on who. You are also going to research the organization as a whole. What have they been up to lately? Do they have anything that has been exciting for them? Have they accomplished something as a company recently? And then take a look at those individuals. Have they accomplished something recently? Have they posted about something that's really exciting? Because then that gives you a way to personalize your message. And you want to personalize every message you send to the person and or the organization. You don't want to send broad messages. Broad messages get you nothing. You want to show them that you took the time to figure their company and them out. So you're going to include that if you send a connection request. Hey, Jane, I saw that you were promoted 2 months ago to the learning content manager position at XYZ company. Congratulations. Make it obvious that you did the work. People, especially on LinkedIn, hate just broad, cold outreach messages. They hate it. I hate it. If I get one, I block that person immediately. I am not interested. If you are going to personalize something to me, okay, I'm interested. Then if you go straight into a sales message, blocked. Most people do, and including me, I want to start a conversation. I want to have something meaningful. It is going to make me more likely to consider, not always guaranteed that you're going to get the job, but to even consider what you are offering if I can see that you're taking the time and you're trying hard. If you're casting a wide net and you're sending the exact same message to 20 different people, I'm not interested. And that is how most people are on LinkedIn. They want relationship and connection before they give you their money. So personalize every message, lead with your value when you do get to a place of wanting to offer your services, not your need for work. It's not, hey, I'm looking for clients. Can I blah, blah, blah. No. Hey, I'm really good at e-learning course creation. Here are some examples, blah, 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 blah. Lead with your value, what you can offer them, how what you offer is of benefit to them to make them want to say yes to you. The initial messages, the connection message, keep it short and focused. Hey, I saw that this organization was mentioned in this article a month ago. That's so amazing. I'm growing my network and I would love to connect and follow along on your journey. Keep it simple. And then follow up consistently, but not aggressively. I've had someone reach out to me, connect. Their message was fine. I connected with them immediately. I could tell that they had AI, which LinkedIn does not like you using AI to automate messages, tasks, things like that. I'm not talking about like using Chat GPT or Claude or whatever. I'm talking about systems that like will send connection requests for you automatically and then send a message automatically. You'll get banned. Don't do that. But I've had someone reach out, obvious automation immediately when I accepted the connection request. There's no way that they were on at that exact moment. And then it went straight into sales. I ignored it. The next day, I just wanted to follow up on the message, make sure that you received it. The next day, charity. Is this something you're interested in? The next day, is this worth your time? The next day. And I ended up blocking them after like 5 days because I'm like, dude, chill. I'm not always on the platform, especially if it's over the weekend. So relax. Don't be aggressive. That's just going to turn people off. However, follow up consistently because sometimes it takes the third, fourth interaction for them to take you seriously. And again, that's not following up with your sales pitch consistently. That's following up with trying to start a conversation consistently. Also want to make sure that you're tracking all of this. Track who you've reached out to, when you reached out to them, so that you know, oh, it's been 7 days since I reached out to Sarah. Should probably send her a message again and see how she's doing. Like, not aggressively, but be consistent. Make sure that you're tracking these things so that you can stay on track. It's a lot of work. I'm not going to lie to you. And it takes a lot to get just one back. However, especially when you are starting out and you're building, these are great ways to get that first client. And the last one that I want to talk about is not my favorite, but especially when you're starting out, it can be helpful is to go to something like Upwork. There's a lot of volume there. It is not going to be priced to your value. There will be some things that might be priced to your value, but you're going to see a lot of $20 to $35 an hour range for projects. However, when you're trying to build a portfolio, when you're trying to build connections, it can be helpful. The other thing is Upwork takes some of your money, which as a freelancer, you're already having to pay for taxes, benefits, sick time. So having anything taken from you from an organization is not optimal. I don't like using Upwork. I don't use Upwork. Another platform for instructional design specifically is Learn Access. And I have never gotten a project through them. What's nice is they take their fees from the clients hiring you, not you. You do have to apply to get in. So sometimes that can be hard if you're not experienced. They don't want Upwork level projects. In fact, I think the minimum hourly rate I've really seen is $50 to $60 an hour on Learn Access. They want more premium clients coming to them to hire through. So they don't want lower level people. So it can be a little bit hard to get into, but that is another platform. And I do like that they don't take the fee from you. They take it from the client. And then Fiverr, I have a hard time finding instructional design on Fiverr. I feel like Fiverr is like great for graphic design and copywriters and things like that. But sometimes you can find things there. It's a lot of work to find. So I don't know if I'd recommend it off the bat, but it is worth mentioning that that is another site to look at. But regardless of the site you go with, make sure that you're building a strong profile. You have portfolio samples and you want to start with the lower rates to build up your reviews and your credibility. And then you can gradually increase your rates, ideally move off the platform. And again, this is where you could have conversations with that client once you have completed a project through Upwork and say, hey, I really enjoyed working with you. Not the biggest fan of having some of my pay cut and given to Upwork. If you are open to it, I would love to continue working with you outside of the platform. It can get a little, you have to feel confident that the client's going to say yes, because there is some protections that Upwork offers to both the designer and the client that they might be like, oh, I don't know, I'm a little fishy working with you on the side, and Upwork doesn't like it. So you have to be kind of careful there. But that is a way that you could kind of start building that client base and then eventually move off of the platform. Regardless of how you're going at it, you always want to make sure that you're building long-term client relationships. Always deliver more value than you initially promised. You want to show them that you go above and beyond within a reasonable amount. You don't want to offer them a level 1 e-learning course and deliver a level 3. That's not what I'm talking about, but always do a little bit more, be a little bit faster, show them your value and over deliver, under promise and over deliver. You also want to make sure that you're communicating proactively about the project status. Do not wait for them to reach out to you. I always send, whether it's a Thursday or a Friday, like I don't work Fridays over the summer, so it's Thursdays, but the rest of the year it's usually a Friday, or if I'm taking the Friday off, it's a Thursday, whatever makes sense. I send weekly emails to my clients. Even if I haven't done anything that week, I want to make sure that they know I am still here, I am still aware, I'm still working, I'm still doing that. I currently have a client that has kind of indefinitely paused the project, which, yes, is a bummer. And that is a risk when you're doing freelance or trying to build a business. And I still reach out to them every 2 weeks. It's not every week. I don't want to be aggressive, even though they're an established client. I don't want to turn them off, but I also want to send little messages that, hey, I'm still here. I'm still aware. I'm still ready for you, and still have that communication line open. And Jamie Brindle will also say this and back me on this. Your ability to communicate matters more than your skills. There can be an instructional designer out there that has better than you, that has been in the game longer than you. But if they're a terrible communicator, they are not going to get the jobs. So it's not always about skill. A lot of times it comes down to communication and the value that you're providing, not just your skill level, which is great news for you as someone starting out new in this facet of the education industry. So just make sure that you're responsive, that you're professional in all your interactions. I've had payment issues. You can still be respectful and still be professional and say, hey, give me my money. But you want to make sure that you're being cognizant of that. Ask for feedback and testimonials after successful projects. So much nowadays is going to be tied to social proof. You are more likely to buy from Jenna Kutcher or Amy Porterfield or a big name that you know that has had thousands of people do things and you have that social proof of success than you are someone just starting out. It's the same thing with you. It can be tricky to land those first couple clients, but make sure that you get feedback and testimonials for them after you're done with the project and add it to your website or your email template that you use to send when you're pitching to potential clients, whatever. Make sure that you have that on hand to provide because social proof is a huge thing nowadays anywhere, whether that's a full-time job, whether that's on Upwork, whether that's posting to LinkedIn. If you can say, I worked with this person at this company and this is what they had to say, then people are like, oh, okay, like there's that social proof. And then a big thing is don't feel like you need thousands of clients to be successful. You can propose additional way to help existing clients. A great example of this is when I do an LMS implementation project, help someone acquire and set up a new LMS, I always propose LMS administration add-ons. After we're done with the implementation, I'm happy to support you for 20 hours a month with your LMS administration. If you need troubleshooting, if you need someone to upload courses for you, if you need whatever, that's a great segue from one project into something else. So always go back to your existing clients and offer different ways to support them. Hey, I did this e-learning course for you. I know you really liked it, blah, blah, blah. Do you have any need for instructor-led training courses? Do you have any need for any video editing services? Go back to them with additional ways that you can support them because you already have the social proof through them that you're good at what you do and reliable and all of that. And so they're more likely to say yes to you for something that they might need than they would be to someone brand new. However, don't assume they'll just come to you if they need something because sometimes people need prompting. And then maintain those relationships even between active projects. You know, I like to follow up with clients that have wrapped up. Maybe it's been a few months. Just want to check in. How's that course operating for you still? Do you need any changes? New project. And follow up with them because you want to make sure that you're still putting yourself in their ear. And I have had this work out for me where I wrapped up a project in January. I maintained contact with that point of contact. And then they said, hey, actually, we have some videos that need editing. Would you be available for that project? Oh, yes. Yes, I am. So you want to make sure that you're maintaining those relationships even after you're wrapped because you never know when it will turn into more work for you. I want to end this episode on overcoming some mental barriers that you're going to run into, that I've seen teachers run into, that I personally ran into as teacher transitioning into instructional design. And the first one I want to reiterate is to remember that your teaching skills translate to valuable business skills. You are not starting brand new. You are transferring and translating skills that you have from teaching into instructional design. Start with small projects to build your confidence. Sometimes it's just getting going. Once you get going, you're like, oh yeah, I can totally do this. I got this. Why was I even doubting myself? And sometimes it just takes a little small project to get that going. So especially when you're starting out, don't be afraid of those small projects. Don't feel like you have to be $1,000 an hour consultant right off the bat. Just get the momentum going and gain that confidence. And then you're not going to have an issue charging higher and more professional prices. Focus on serving clients rather than selling yourself. So you're not coming to them saying, I'm so amazing, you want me because I'm so great. You're coming to them saying, you have a problem that I can help you solve. Here's how I can serve you. Now, you want to make sure that you're balancing delivering client work with your business development. It's a real tricky place if you have a project wrapped up and you don't have another one lined up. So you want to make sure that you're balancing your time between delivering to the clients that you have and continuing to get more clients or get more projects from clients so that you constantly have a stream of work coming in so that you're not worried about, well, shoot, I don't know when money's going to come again. So there's that balance, but make sure that when you are pitching, you're not selling yourself. You're demonstrating to them how you can help them solve problems that they have. Make sure that you celebrate small wins. It is tough to get started. So even that first LinkedIn post needs to be celebrated. You don't have to wait to celebrate when you get your first client. Yeah, celebrate, of course, please do. But celebrate all the small wins along the way because those are all getting you to your destination. We don't want to overlook the journey. The journey is very important and you need to celebrate it as you go. And then make sure that you connect with other freelancers for support and accountability. Make sure that you are building a community that you can go to. And that is a big goal that I have here at the ID Den, is to have a community where you can come, you can ask questions, you can cheer each other on, you have that support, you have that accountability. So that wraps up this episode. Subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts. Share this with your teacher friends who are considering freelancing or instructional design full-time. But this episode in particular will be beneficial for those considering freelancing or trying to do side gigs. Please connect with me on Instagram at the ID Den. Freelancing fears are totally normal. Don't let them paralyze you. Again, the future of the workforce in America is going to be freelance, especially for creative design fields like instructional design. Every successful freelancer started exactly where you are now, including me. Just take action on one small step at a time rather than waiting for the perfect condition, the perfect client, the perfect post. Something is better than nothing. Done is better than perfect.